All right, Eric, thanks. Shelby County not leading the state in reported immigration arrests despite the Memphis Safe Task Force presence, which includes ICE, being here in Memphis. Action News 5's Imani Williams joining us live now after digging into the data, Imani, behind these arrests.
Well, according to the 2025 immigration report for the state, over 11,000 people in Tennessee were reported as not being in the U.S. legally. Many of those arrests came from traffic violations, driving without a license, and DUIs. But as I dug a little deeper, the number of reported immigration arrests varied for Shelby County. Shelby County ranks number 10 out of 94 Tennessee counties in immigration arrest, according to a report by the Tennessee District Attorney's General Conference. Number 10, even with the increased presence of ICE and other federal agencies in Memphis.
That's why you may see them with them, but when they're with our police officers, they're not focused on immigration.
Report data shows immigration arrests for 2025 in Shelby County totaled 273. Keep that number handy. We'll get back to that. Data in the report shows over 11,000 reported immigration arrests were made across the state, 34% for traffic violations. The Memphis Safe Task Force surged Memphis in October 2025, sending thousands of federal agents, including ICE, to Memphis.
We don't have an immigration problem in our city. I've been very clear about that.
Memphis Mayor Paul Young says the task force is only here to combat violent crime. Remember that 273 number? Well, we looked back at the reported arrest shared by the Memphis Safe Task Force, and the numbers don't add up. When the task force first arrived, Action News 5 requested breakdowns of arrests made by them. They identified this administrative column as immigration arrest, but the administrative immigration arrest column disappeared a month after the surge. This was the last email with the administrative column in the arrest breakdown. A spokesperson said the task force made 319 immigration arrests by October 31st, a very different number from the state's report. According to the TDAGC report, they gathered information from local law enforcement agencies. So I took a look at the Shelby County Sheriff's Office data. SCSO's jail report card includes ICE releases. In 2025, SCSO interviewed and referred thousands of people to ICE, but only 96 were released to the agency. So let's look back. The Tennessee District Attorney's General Report shows 273 immigration arrests in Shelby County. SCSO reports 96 ICE releases, and the Memphis Safe Task Force reported 319 immigration arrests in just 1 month of being in Memphis. All very different reported arrest numbers. I asked the TDAGC a few questions about its data, specifically what local agencies reported data to them and if their numbers include the Memphis Safe Task Force. I'm still waiting for a response. Well, the report showed some counties smaller than Shelby County had more reported immigration arrests, like Sumner County, just north of Nashville, with nearly 4% more arrests. Live in studio, Imani Williams, Action News 5.
All right, Monty, good information there. So listen, we've been on top of these numbers from the Memphis Safe Task Force. How many arrests have they been making? Well, because today is a federal holiday, we couldn't get numbers today. The most recent data we're about to share with you was released last week. Take a look. As of February 9th, the Memphis Safe Task Force has arrested 5,906 people, 655 on drug charges, 510 for gun charges, 86 for sex offense charges, and 34 on homicide charges. Of those arrested, 164 were juveniles. U.S. Marshals also say the task force has seized 963 illegal guns and located 148 missing children.